We have taken great care during the month of February to uplift and honor Black history. I myself have spoken many times on the floor acknowledging historic Black leaders, educators, and institutions. I rise today to urge you all to carry this spirit of honor and acknowledgement forward with a commitment to the work of commemorating Black history and celebrating Black history in the making. The word Sankofa from Ghana's Akan people and its accompanying symbol are synonymous with Black heritage among the African diaspora. Translated, Sankofa simply means to go back and get it. By honoring Black stories, we go back and get lessons of determination and perseverance in the face of insurmountable odds. If we carry them with us, these lessons can strengthen us as we move forward to face challenges of our own. Over the past year, no challenge has been greater than that of COVID-19 pandemic. Healthcare workers have served valiantly on the front lines to care for our sick, and scientists have raced to develop a vaccine to ease the tremendous loss of life we as a country have suffered. In Virginia alone, 7,075 mothers, fathers, sons, daughters have been lost to the virus, disproportionately in communities of color. Today, I want to highlight Dr. Kizzmekia S. Corbett. Dr. Corbett is a research fellow and the scientist lead for the coronavirus vaccine and immunopathogenesis team at the National Institute of Health, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease Vaccine Research Center. Dr. Corbett is an expert in her field on the front line of the global race for COVID-19 vaccine, and someone who will go down in history as one of the key players in developing the science that could end this pandemic. Dr. Anthony Fauci recently praised her work, stating Kizzy as an African-American scientist who is right at the forefront of the development of the vaccine. The very vaccine that's one or two that have absolutely exquisite levels of 94 to 95% efficacy against clinical disease and almost 100% efficacy against serious disease. That vaccine was actually developed in the Institute Research Center by a team of scientists led by Dr. Barney Graham and his close colleague, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett. Dr. Corbett was born in Hurdleville, North Carolina, and raised in Hillsborough. She earned an undergraduate degree in biological science and sociology from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, as a Maroff Scholar, an aggressive program that mentors minorities and women in science. She then earned a doctorate degree in microbiology and immunology from the University of North Carolina School of Medicine in 2014. A viral immunologist by training, Dr. Corbett uses her expertise to propel novel vaccine development for pandemic preparedness. Dr. Corbett's dissertation research garnered her several awards, including a Doctoral Merit Award and induction into the UNC's Frank Porter Graham Honor Society. It is important to recognize the vaccine could not have happened without the efforts of Dr. Corbett and other scientists working tirelessly behind the scenes for many years prior to this pandemic. After being appointed to the National Institute of Health Vaccine Research Center in 2014, she led a team focused on assessing and improving novel vaccine platforms for coronavirus and influenza. Dr. Corbett spoke of her early work. The reason that I started to work in coronavirus was not to ever develop a vaccine, but really to have a strong understanding in vaccine immune responses that we could potentially develop. When words of SARS, CoV-2 emerged, Dr. Corbett and other researchers at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease had already begun studying other coronaviruses for years, including those responsible for early outbreaks of respiratory disease. So when word came that this was a new coronavirus outbreak, they were ready to take action. Dr. Corbett and her team at the National Institute of Health partnered with federal government operations Warp Speed to develop a vaccine in record time. The vaccine concept designed by Dr. Corbett's team was rapidly deployed to industry partners, Moderna for the FDA's approval, phase 1 clinical trials, which unprecedentedly began only 66 days from the viral sequence release. The vaccine has now been deployed to millions across the country and is proven to be our first real step toward containing COVID. In a field that has historically marginalized women of color, Dr. Corbett recognized the powerful impact her presence could have on future scientists. In a recent interview by Dr. Corbett, she stated, "I felt like it was necessary to be seen and not heard, to be seen and not to be hidden figure. It was important to do that because the level of visibility that it would have on young scientists, also people of color. We, who have often worked hard behind the scenes, essentially have done the dirty work for these large efforts towards a vaccine. According to the National Center for Educational Statistics, only 18% of all student graduates with a science degree, among those, only 2% are Black. Dr. Corbett seeks to change that. In addition to her research, Dr. Corbett serves as an active member of NIF Fellows Committee and invests much of her time bringing STEM awareness to youth in local underserved communities through mentorship and volunteering. Dr. Corbett is also working with organizations encouraging Black people to take the vaccine. She realizes how important it was for vaccine-hesitant communities, especially the Black community, to see her as a forefront of the development of the vaccine. She spoke in an interview about building trust, stating, "This is a person who looks like you, who has been working on this for several years. I wanted it to be visible because I wanted people to understand that I stood by the work that I'd done for such a long time. In short, representation matters." Dr. Freeman A. Harbor was the University of Maryland, Baltimore County President and graduate of Hampton University and head of the Meroff Scholars Program, where Dr. Corbett earned her bachelor's degree, remarked on the importance of uplifting and preserving her legacy when they write the history of the first against and the fight against COVID-19. She cannot be a hidden figure. She needs to be a textbook. And little girls need to see her of all races. This is what's possible. In recognition of her work, Dr. Corbett's hometown of Hillsborough proclaimed January 12, Dr. Kizzy Corbett Day. Mr. President, though it's important to acknowledge the importance of extraordinary work of this remarkable young scientist and her work as we celebrate Black History Month, and I thank you for the time you've taken to hear me.